Good morning, students. Welcome to the second video lecture on accessory respiratory organs in fishes. A few fishes and some brackish water brackish water fishes, besides the gills, they have special structures for the breathing atmospheric air. And these all structures are collectively called as the accessory respiratory organs. And these are the outgrowths of pharynx, brachial chamber, and the certain membranes or the lung like structures, and it is will be richly supplied with blood vessels. So in the previous lecture we have discussed in detail, and let's revise the common breathing structures found in among the fishes. The skin itself acts as a breathing organ. Then the brachial chamber itself gets modified to form a modified brachial epithelium or the brachial diverticulum as a brachial diverticulum, which serves as accessory respiratory organ. Then the pharynx epithelium can act as a accessory respiratory organ, or it can develop a diverticulum, pharyngeal diverticulum, which again acts as accessory respiratory organs. Then it can be a air-filled brachial chamber. The brachial chamber itself can be modified to form the air-filled sacs. Then the gas bladder and the lungs present inside these fishes. The stomach and the intestine itself can be modified as an accessory respiratory organs. This we have seen in the previous lecture, and today we will be discussing on the opercular chamber, that is the air-filled brachial chamber. This opercular chamber is modified for the aerial respiration. So in some species, the inhaled air is passed through the gill slits into the operculum, where it is stored for some time, and the opercular chamber becomes bulged out in the form two little balloon-like structures, and in the lower portion or in the hinder region of the head, and sometimes the walls collapse and the air is passed through the small external brachial opening, and this membrane lining of the opercular chamber becomes a thin and highly muscular to allow the exchange of gases. And this type of modification is seen in fishes like Periophthalmus and Bolioophthalmus. So again, the next modification or the necessary respiratory organ, it is air reservoirs or the air sacs itself acts as a accessory respiratory organs. So in a number of the fishes, the accessory respiratory organs are the air sacs or the air reservoirs, which is present in the opercular region. So it is a specialized air storage and for the gas exchange, and many extensions or the outpushings of the brachial chamber, brachial cavity, pharynx, stomach, or the intestine. So these air sacs are usually the extension or the outpushings of these structures such as the brachial chamber, buccal cavity, pharynx, stomach, or intestine. And there are the different type of the air reservoirs present in these fishes. That is the labyrinthine organ is the first one, then brachial air tubes, intestinal air reservoirs, arborescent or the dendriform organs, then there is a pharyngeal air sacs. So these are the different types of the air sacs and the modified structures for aerial respiration in fishes. Let's see one by one. So first is about the labyrinthine organ. These are the accessory respiratory organ, also called as a labyrinthine-like structure. So here this is the picture of the labyrinthine organ seen in a fish, and these labyrinthine organs are present in the anabas fishes. So it is developed from the brachial epithelium, and is mainly located one and at the each above the gills. So this is a gill. You can see here the gill, and above the gill this modified structure is seen in anabas. Anabas is also called as a climbing perch. and it has a habit of migrating from pond to pond, and during this period of progression on land, the fish breathe atmospheric oxygen. So there are the two air chambers, one on either side of the head. So this is a one side chamber that you can see here, one on one side and the other on the other side. So there are the two air chambers, one on the each side of the head, and which are the extensions of the brachial chamber or the brachial cavity, and they contain the concentrically arranged wavy plates called as a labyrinthine organ, which are the outgrowths of the upper part of the first brachial arch. This is the first brachial arch that you can see here, and it is a labyrinthine organ. It is an extension of the first brachial arch. The plates are covered with a vascular membrane, and each chamber communicates with the pharynx by the first gill slit and to the gill cavity by the opening situated between the hyoid arch and the first brachial arch. So there is a communication between the pharynx by the first gill slit to the gill cavity by the opening situated between the hyoid arch and the brachial arch. Okay. So the air is drawn in by the mouth and it reaches the pharynx, then into the air chamber, and it passes to the brachial chamber, and it reaches the labyrinthine organ, and the deoxygenated or the carbon dioxide rich air, it is expelled outside, and animals can remain out of the water for 6 to 7 hours. So these are the fishes that you can see here, that in which the labyrinthine organs are present. So Anabas, Ophronimus, Macropodus, and Beta. So these are the fishes that shows labyrinthine organ. Next, we will pass on to the next accessory respiratory organ, that is arborescent organ or dendriform organ, and these organs are the seen in Clarius fishes. Another instance of brachial chamber enlargement and the modification is found in Clarius or the catfish and the related form. Clarius has a pair of suprabrachial organs on each side, and it is divided into two parts. You can see here, this is the head region of a Clarius fish, and this is the arborescent organ which is seen in the brachial chamber of Clarius. It is also called as a dendriform organ, and on each side you can see a labyrinthine organ. This is a picture showing one side of the labyrinthine organ, and it is formed from the second and the fourth brachial arches. These are the four arches that you can see here, the gill arches, and this arborescent organ, it is formed from the second, this is the second one, the second and the fourth gill arches. Okay, so it has a two chambers, as you can see here. This is the first chamber and this is the second chamber, and it's usually the extension of the brachial cavities. The air chamber contains the two richly vascular branching structures. These are the branching structures, and it is highly vascular. Vascular means it is rich with supply of blood vessels. The surface of the arborescent organ is covered by the vascular fold of the buccal epithelium, and the organs provide a respiratory surface for the gaseous exchange. So the air is taken into the mouth through the mouth continuously, and the air reaches the pharynx, then the air reaches the head chamber, it reaches the dendriform organ, it reaches the gill slits, and which is covered, and this dendriform organ is covered with highly vascular epithelium, brachial epithelium. So the major dissolution of oxygen takes place here, then it reaches the gill slits, then it reaches the outside. This is the path through which the air is flown in an arborescent organ. This is a picture of the clarius. These are the fishes in which you can see arborescent organ. Next type, it is the next type of accessory respiratory organ is a brachial air tubes. Actually, it is a long lung-like air tubes. Lung-like air tubes and are situated on each side of the vertebral column. Situated on each side of the vertebral column. So it's a tubular structure. If this is a vertebral column, on either side you can see an elongated brachial air tubes. Okay, somewhat like this. And they are the extension of the brachial chamber and extended middle of the tail, and it can reach up to the middle of the tail, and it provides a respiratory surface for the gaseous exchange. So air dissolves into the mouth, or the air reaches the mouth, continuous flow of air to the mouth, then to the pharynx, then it reaches the brachial chamber, then it reaches the brachial air tube, and where the dissolution of the oxygen takes place with the help of the highly vascular epithelium which is lining the brachial air tube, and it reaches the gills. There also some sort of exchange takes place. Then the carbon dioxide rich air moves outside. So this type of air tubes are seen in heteroneutous fishes. Okay, and this in Clarius and Sacobranchus also you can see this type of branchial air tubes. This is a picture showing the branchial air tubes, which is not much clear, but still you can see here. Here there is a tube, an anterior portion of the tube you can see. It's again the picture showing this is a air tube seen in Clarius fishes. Okay. So again, next it is Pharyngeal Air Sags. It's also an extension seen in the brachial chamber, and it is a type of accessory respiratory organ. It acts as a pair of lung-like pharyngeal pouches, an extension of the pharynx, and they are lined by the thick vascular membrane, and this membrane provides a respiratory surface for the gaseous exchange. In amphibians, a pair of blind sag-like pharyngeal diverticulum is present, and this sag is very much lined by the richer vascular epithelium, pharyngeal epithelium. So in amphibians, this type of pharyngeal air sacs are seen. In this, the air is drawn into the mouth continuously. It reaches a pharynx and it reaches a pharyngeal pouch, where it is provided with the highly vascular membrane, where the gaseous exchange takes place. In gills, also the gaseous exchange takes place to some extent. Then the air moves outside. In amphibians and channa also, this type of pharyngeal air sacs are seen. Here you can see this is a vertebral column, and on either side of the vertebral column there is a paired air sacs. This is a channa fish. This is amphibians. You can see they are seen close to the river bodies, and the land area close to the river bodies. In mangroves also you can see amphibians. That's all in this section. We will continue the accessory respiratory organ in the next video lecture. Thank you.